Hello everybody, welcome to day 26, Reconnect. Today we'll be reconnecting with that purest part of yourself. And we'll have a couple props that we'll be using today. We'll be using socks to help your feet slide better, just have some handy. And then we also made a block. So let's get started. Yoga pants and plants. 30 Days of Compassionate Yoga is an invitation to journey toward being in the present moment, an opportunity to emulate the way nature lives in the moment. Be like a plant. Don't worry how you look. Notice how you sense and respond, like the way a tree reaches for the sun or a source of water. Nourish yourself with movement and stillness. Allow compassion to flourish for a little bit of time every day. Welcome to day 26, Reconnect. Find a comfortable position laying on your back on the mat. Feet can be in effortless rest. Reconnect with your six directional breathing with your hands on the belly. Notice the hand rise on an inhale and notice the hand fall slightly on an exhale. Continue for 5 to 6 breaths. Take 2 deep inhales through the nose. Notice a slight pause and release out of the mouth. Try that again. 2 deep inhales through the nose. Notice a slight pause and release long exhale out of the mouth. According to Dr. Andrew Huberman, neurobiologist at Stanford University School of Medicine, that is called a physiological sigh, and it's an effective way to bring arousal of the nervous system down. It is 2 inhales followed by an extended exhale. Continue to settle the body, reconnecting with your breath as needed. Here is a quote from Deborah Adele about the first Niyama of purity. Cleanliness is a process of scrubbing the outside of us. It changes our outer appearance. Purification works on the inside and changes our very essence. In my experience, purity, or the process of purification on the inside, isn't as fast as scrubbing the bathroom. It is a slow, gentle awareness that grows larger in our minds as we spend time in the present moment. Taking moments like these before the moving practice of yoga helps to clarify our movements. Purity exists like compassion at our very center. When we forget, we can reconnect using the breath and stillness. Bring the presence of now to the practice of arch and flatten. Let the tailbone press into the floor and feel a slight arch in the back. Breathe and relax. Let the pelvis return to neutral. Do that several times in your own mindful, present way. Then guide the pelvis in the opposite direction. Feel the front of the body contract and flatten. Then breathe and relax. Again, several times in your own mindful, present way. And then find a give and take between the arch and flatten in your own rhythm, using the pause in neutral to connect with the purity of the moment. Relax your legs out long. The mobility part of the practice today helps to clear your mind and reconnect. with how your joints and limbs move. Think about the sides of your foot. There is an outside and an inside. Beginning with one leg, roll the foot so the outside or the little toe side of the foot is on the floor. Using the other leg as a guide, slide the foot up and down 5 times, very slowly. Turn the foot so the inside of the foot or the big toe side of the foot is pointing toward the other leg. This will be less of a turn. Gently slide the foot alongside the other leg 5 times up and down. When complete, take a breath and compare how this leg feels compared to the other leg. Moving to the other foot, roll the foot so the outside or the little toe side of the foot is on the floor. Using the other leg as a guide, slide the foot up and back down 5 times. Turn the foot so the inside of the foot or the big toe side of the foot is pointing toward the other leg. Gently slide the foot up and down 5 times. Now placing both feet together so the soles of the feet are touching. Little toe side of the foot is on the ground. Move your legs up towards your waist and then back down for 5 times. When you're complete with that, put the legs in effortless rest and then let the knees connect, knocking the knees together. And then the feet, you'll notice, are on their side or close to being on their side at the big toe side. And then bring those feet up toward the waist and back down while keeping the knee together for 5 times. Can stretch out the legs long for a breath or two. And think about all the ways that you've moved your knee joint and your hip joint, even your ankle joint. Then bring your feet into effortless rest again. And then allow the legs to move together like you're a downhill skier. So the knees are together and you are able to rotate from side to side as you bring your knees up and then rotate on the pelvis and bring them down on the other side. You can do that for 5 times. When you're complete, relax the legs out long for a breath or 2. Go ahead and bring your knees in and hug your knees. Then let your legs lift toward the ceiling and you can grab your feet or your ankles with your hands for a happy baby pose. And then come back to a hug. And roll on your side like you're in a fetal position. And continue to roll over and come to a standing position. So find mountain pose. You can dangle your feet down. Adjust your hands so they're placed in front of the body at the hips. And we'll do a practice that we did the other day called Owl Looks Back. Twist the body slightly and slowly in one direction, moving from the sacrum up the spine to the low back, to the mid back, to the upper back, to the neck, allowing the head to turn like an owl. The movement of the spine turns the hands open and away from the body. Gently reverse this turning motion, letting go from the neck to the upper back, to the mid back, to the low back, and the sacrum. Both hands are in front of the body, facing the body, and the head has turned back to the center. Then twist the body slightly in the other direction, moving from the sacrum up the spine to the low back, to the mid back, to the upper back, to the neck, allowing the head to turn like an owl. The movement of the spine turns the hands open and away from the body toward the twist. Gently reverse this turning motion, letting go from the neck to the upper back, to the mid back, to the low back and sacrum. Both hands are in front of the body, facing the body. Find this movement first from one side and then the other for at least 3 more times. Then do a few standing arch and flattens and expand them to be like a wave back and forth, allowing the arms to flow as the body flows from the center like a wave. Gradually come to stillness. And check your pelvis to see that it's in its most stable, steady position. And find a standing tree pose. Using a chair at your hip for stability, bring attention to the leg that is away from the chair. Move the toe of that leg to the ground. So the leg is turning externally without moving your pelvis. Slowly slide the foot up as far as feels stable. And you can always leave it in a kickstand if that is what is comfortable for you today. Once you're in tree, explore how the opposite leg is providing stability. Return to mountain and try again, this time adding the arms first at the heart and then moving out to the side. And then up. Return to mountain and take a few breaths. Turn the body around so the chair is at your other hip. Bring attention to the leg that is away from the chair. Move the toe of that leg to the ground. And slide it up to the spot that works for you, that feels stable. Once again, you can kickstand the foot if that's what works for you today. Explore how the opposite leg is providing stability. Coming out of tree pose and then coming back in, this time add your arms. Starting at your heart, moving out to the side, and if it works, up over the head. Now you can come back to the floor, sitting in a staff pose. And then bend your knees. And we'll start with a boat pose. Place your hands behind your knees, lift the chest, engaging the back muscles. Engage your inner thighs. If it works for you, you can tip back and lift your feet up, experimenting with how high you want to lift your legs, allowing the toes to spread out. And then you can let go of your legs and experiment with where you want to hold your arms. Whatever position you find boat to be for you today, stay for 2 to 5 breaths. After 2 to 5 breaths, you can come out of the pose and then go back in and try it again for another 2 to 5 breaths. We're going to do a supported bridge pose. Go ahead and lie on your back with your knees bent and the soles of your feet flat on the floor. Extend your arms back to where your fingers are almost reaching your heels. Keeping the feet in parallel tracks. Press down into the mat with your feet and your hips lifting up off the floor. Keeping the pelvis neutral. Slide your yoga block under your back, directly under your sacrum, and let it rest securely. Your arms can stay outstretched on the floor next to your body. This should be a comfortable position. If the pose causes your back to hurt, you can remove the block and come down. To come out, if you still have the block under your sacrum, press down into your feet and gently lift your hips up again and slide the block out and gently lower your back to the floor. Relax on the floor and enjoy an internal sense of silence. When a thought arises, see it as a bird flitting across the sky and not landing or making a mess. Just a graceful bird to notice. It belongs to nature. Enjoying this sense of peace and reconnection. My voice will return to wrap up the practice soon. Notice any kind of movement in the body. Let these movements grow and expand as you roll to one side and continuing to roll over with your body toward the ground, slowly and gently rising to a seated position. Give thanks for time today spent in the present moment, where you are able to reconnect with your breath and the present moment to the purity that exists at the very center of you. Namaste. Now, as you rise from your mat, don't forget to eat more plants. You will feel and move better. Follow us for tips at flowingyan.com.